Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, these are the Ajax Diaries brought to you by One Football App. Today's show, very simply put, it's a development update. We're doing okay in the league, but I wanted to focus on player development. Now, there's certain things about the AI. Honestly, the AI isn't that hard to play against. It has, SI can't really code phenomenal business sense into the AI, because if it did, then the game would be unaffordable for us, or basically we'd have to use we're going to use really good computers, because a lot of the leagues will have to be simmed close to reality, and it's not going to be easy. People are going to complain because the requirements for the game are so heavy, and then blah 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 blah, and then we also want the match engine AI to be very intelligent. But I can tell you one thing: if you test the game like me, which is hardcore, because when I'm in the closed beta, if I see something happening in the game, I save reload like 100 times just to isolate the event and make sure that event is repeated. Now, if I can get the event to repeat, it tells me a lot about the engine. So I do things like testing closing down, testing player roles, and do this all with Juventus. Usually I test it with Juventus or Barcelona. I test it with a good team so that I reduce the element of surprise caused by poor attribute spreads. And then once I figured those things out, it becomes so much more easier to play the game. I mean, like, then I've nailed I've nailed the engine. And so then I realized that the engine doesn't adapt very well, right? So it doesn't notice things like if you start overloading one side of the pitch, does the AI suddenly change the way it plays? No, it doesn't. It just carries on playing the same way. It might change certain things, but it definitely does not notice you overloading. So I find that this is a weakness in the engine at the moment, that if you intentionally switch your overloads, like you intentionally play for the overload, the AI can't handle it. Is it an exploit? Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's not an exploit. The game just has to get better at handling it, and it's always going to be a nice challenge for SI, because as long as there are people doing that to the match engine, the match engine is struggling, then they are forced into improving the game, and I will not apologize for the way I play. Okay, so here we have our team, Ajax. Financially, we're doing okay. If you look at the financial situation, 120 million cash balance, which is pretty good. Overall balance is around 100 million actually. We've done pretty well this season. We're making money from TV deals, but we also want to make money from player sales eventually, because we want to become a really successful rich club in Europe. At the moment, we're just a successful rich club in Holland. So we want to aim for the best. And one of the things that I know that we're going to cover today is basically look at the development. Now, training wise, we've been very simple in our training program. We've been balanced most of the time. Literally the whole season we've been on balance. Our squad, our personality is also very balanced across the pitch. However, this is one of the players I'm going to zoom in on. We're going to zoom in on a few players for our development. We're going to look at players that like Casper Dolberg and Justin Kluivert, and we're also going to take a look at players like Jasper de Hyde and Boy Kemper, who are in the under 18 team last season. They may have only featured for 5 or 6 games. We also want to see how they have developed. And if I'm looking at my team, training wise, everybody seems to be okay, but some players have shown very good development, and others, well, one or two of them, I'm a bit disappointed, but at least I'm more curious than anything else as to what's happened. So let's just cut to the chase and zoom in on Mr. Casper Dolberg, the one person that has turned out to be a bit of a miss. I know, he's a strange little player. Now, Casper Dolberg has been fantastic in the league. He's done really well. He's gone from being a wonder kid to an elite striker. However, his personality did not go up, it went down. So he went from being a resilient player to now a light-hearted player. Now the problem for me now is I can't really tutor him anymore. So one of the ways that maybe it could improve is if he's surrounded by all professionals in the team, then his personality could change again. But why did his personality change? I don't know why. I wasn't really I wasn't saving I wasn't doing incremental saves, right? So I can't really isolate the point in which his personality went from one way to the other way. So I'm still trying to figure this out. Now, when I first joined the club, Casper was earning 1.2 3K a week, and within I mean, that was in 2007 when I joined the club. Now his salary is £105,000 per week. We just kept increasing his salary so that we could first up push his value up. Secondly, I wanted to make it very hard for other teams to nick him. And in terms of his development, he can still improve. My question is, how much? I'm already toying with the idea that if his personality is dropped to lighthearted, I might sell him. So if I can get a good value for him, he might be gone. So but we're gonna try and develop him in the best way possible. If I'm looking at his development so far, in terms of his physicals, agility showed some improvement in one season. And another area that I was pretty okay with was his development in terms of his composure. Now, if you're looking at how he's actually gotten better at bearing his chances. So his finishing and composure have both improved. His mentals, his off the ball has improved as well. And his technicals. Now, if I'm looking at some of his technicals, a lot of technicals have shown an improvement. His crossing has improved, dribbling has improved, finishing has improved. His first touch has improved, and his ability to take penalties. So overall, he has shown some improvement in his game. And this change in his personality, well, we're going to keep him around and try and increase his value, which means I'm going to change his position and start getting some interest going in him. And if I need to, we'll be selling Casper Dolberg because his personality just went lighthearted, which is very, very strange. Okay, another player in our team that I have a huge soft spot for this player. His name is Ligt. Now, Ligt, when we started training last season, he was working on dribbling for most of the season as a ball-playing defender. We've just changed his additional focus to passing, his intensity level to heavy, and we want him to learn the player trait brings the ball out of defense. Ligt is a pretty interesting. I mean, his development has also been solid. Now, he's nowhere near playing to his full potential, right? So he can still improve. But if you're looking at the development in terms of his physical, the physicals show a lot of improvement. We've got acceleration pace going up. We've got agility going up along with balance. And then we've got natural fitness also improving and his stamina. So across the board, very good development. He's fairly professional, so I'm pretty happy with this. He's not been complaining. He doesn't always complain by his training, but lately he's just come shut up and he's been unhappy with his training overall. So might wanna. I'm not gonna change the training. In terms of his mentals, his anticipation has shown improvement, and if you're looking at his composure and his concentration, they too have improved. And I'm actually very happy that his positioning has shown remarkable improvement. So he's got a 2-point increase in positioning in less than after just one season, and his vision has also improved, which is one of the reasons why I'm training him specifically in the area of the ball playing defender, because with a better first touch and his ability to see the pass, now that's going to add a lot of dimension to the way we play. And one of the things that we're going to be training him as well is to switch ball to the other flank. So from the back, I'm going to use him to switch the emphasis of play. So Ligt is going to become a very dangerous centre back, and then some. So his value went from 4.9 to 19.75. Very excited about his development. On average, he outperforms most of the other players in the team. He rarely gets below 7 for his ratings. This season, he's done very well in the league. He's got one of the best pass completion percentages in our team, and generally I find that he is not too bad when called upon to do the rough stuff. So Ligt, I'm happy to see him develop. Unfortunately for us, his determination dropped by 2 points, which is a bit of a mystery to me. And I know that there's a random factor now in the game. I just don't know. I'm trying to figure out what else it affects, but so far I've seen it affect personality, and I've seen it affect their their determination as well. Okay, so we've done Mathis de Ligt. One other player that has come along, I'm looking at him very closely, is of course David Neres. Now David Neres last season, we had a lot of issues with him. He couldn't play a few games last season, so his development, I'm expecting his development to take a few knocks as well, because he spent quite a number of matches. He wasn't available last season for quite a few matches because he was injured. So last season he only played 17 games, scored 12 goals, had a rating of 7.24. I mean, this is kind of crazy for one season if you think about it. Back this season, I'm looking at his development, and you can see there are just marginal improvements in bravery has gone up. So this is one attribute that can go up. And then if you're looking at other attributes, we see more of the attacking spread, like off the ball. This has improved, and some of his technicals have shown some improvement. When I see something like this, these are fractional. They may be fractional increases. They haven't been registered yet. So I'm not too fussed about it at the moment. Because current ability, there's still some gaps between current ability and potential ability. Now, what about his training? Now, I've been training him as an inside forward. Now, he plays as an inside forward as well. And we want to ensure that he continues to improve. His passing has definitely gone up since we started his additional focus training. And I'm going to stay on these attributes without changing anything. So we'll continue to work on this, because these are the attributes I need him to do well with. I need these attributes to improve over time. Sometimes what I do is I criticize the training level. You must show signs to remain in the club. Bang. Because we know that his attributes. So we're one season. We've done a season, right? So I can look at a player and go, okay, look, it's been 1 year. I don't see a lot of improvement in the way you're doing shit. So here's a knock on your head. Go do a better job. Another player that I'm going to take a look at is Justin Kluivert. Now, when I started this game, I wasn't too sure about Justin Kluivert, but he's grown on me. I mean, between Amin Younes and Justin Kluivert is a no-brainer. Justin Kluivert starts all the time. And I want to see strong improvement in this player. So far, I've seen marginal improvements in pace and acceleration, but I see some, in terms of his mentals, most of the mentals seem to show improvement. His flair is still about the same. His decision-making is still about the same. His flair, his decision-making has improved. Anticipation and composure have shown improvements. So I'm pretty happy with how he has added some attributes in key areas like off the ball, anticipation. His vision has also improved, because I started playing him, sometimes even play him as a playmaker. His passing hasn't shown much improvement, but I'm hoping that passing, decisions, and vision, I'm looking at these three to improve over time, because these are areas of his game I want to see him improve. And because he has the ability of finding the right pass and getting into good and dangerous positions. So balance also will need to improve over time. So now when I'm looking at the development of Justin Kluivert, I want balance to go up. I definitely want his passing to go up and his decisions. So passing, decisions, vision, balance have to go up. And then if I'm looking at the rest now, if you can see, he's shown some strong improvement in finishing. He's had a 4-point increase in finishing since we started training. This is a huge jump. So he went from 9 points to 13 in a season. And this is I'm pretty happy with him, because you'd think that balanced, he's a balanced personality. He needs to be tutored, but so far so good. We are looking at his finishing. As you can see, we made him focus on finishing, and we've seen a 4-point increase in his finishing. So now I'm looking at the rest of his abilities. Now I want balance to go up, and I want vision and decisions to improve. But he's been trained as an inside forward. But now what we're going to do is we're going to start training him as an advanced playmaker. Now, if I start training him as an advanced playmaker, still balance may not be the key attribute that they're going to work on, but we're going to nail some of the other attributes that I find I think that he needs, especially off the ball, decisions. We got vision here, we got passing. So what we're going to do now is do focused training on balance. So this can help Justin Kluivert, in certain ways. I'm hoping that this adds some dimension to Justin Kluivert's game. Now we have youngsters too that I want to look at. One of these youngsters, I mean, this is more like a curiosity. I'm curious about this boy. His name is Jesper de Hide. Now, last season when I started, I mean, I played him something. I don't think I played a lot. He played a lot of games last season. He only played 4 games last season, right? So he's played 4 games last season. He's now playing 8 games in Young Ajax, which is our reserve team. And Jesper de Hide is 19 years old. So we've already we have plans. If he doesn't, I have to start playing him a lot more. So I'm really bringing him into the first team. Try and give him as many matches as I can. So he's already played like 3 games for us in the first team this season. And I'm hoping that we can prevent him from a downward slide in attributes. Pace have all gone up. Stamina has dropped a bit. We'll have to focus, make sure that this does not become a major issue for him. Then I'm looking at other attributes. That most of the mental attributes, they haven't, we don't see a lot of improvement. Positioning is definitely improved, and I'm happy about that because he is going to be playing as a fullback or inverted wingback. We also want his vision to improve, so his vision has gone up. Decisions, well, they've also gone up from 7 to 8. And then if I'm looking at the rest of his abilities in the technical area, all the technicals have shown some improvement, except for his heading, because we've not really focused on that. Marking, passing has shown some improvement, and his technique. So this is one youngster who didn't get a chance to play a lot and now has shown some improvement in certain areas of his game. So he's going to go on heavy, and we are going to make sure that we track him a lot more closely, and we're going to start using him this season. So Jesper de Hide is one player that I've targeted, and I want to, it's more like this is becoming an experiment with Jesper de Hide, and I want to see how far we can take this and see whether he improves over time. Donny van der Beek is another player that I have been tracking. He's an important player for the club, and his value is also shot up. Now, since we joined the club, his personality, we managed to get his personality up, player trait, and we've seen him actually become a much faster defensive midfielder. The one thing about him that was weak in the game, and which we focused in early, was positioning and his quickness. I wanted these 2 attributes to improve, so these have improved. As you can see, his acceleration has gone up, his pace has gone up, his positioning has also gone up. So there's a 2-point increase in positioning, which is huge. To me, it's quite important, because that 2 points is important as far as the Champions League is concerned. And we want to see continual improvement in his positioning. In other attributes, they've shown that basically most of the other attributes seem to be hovering around the same areas. When it comes to Donny van der Beek, we focused on a deep line playmaker as a training area for him. I see him playing in a few different roles. Sometimes I like to play him as the Mazzala. Sometimes I like to play him as a playmaker. I have rarely ever used him as a ball-winning midfielder. But the 2 things that we wanted to do with Van der Beek when I first started the game was A, improve his quickness, B, improve his positioning. So these are the 2 areas that was a big focus of me when it came to his training development. So I'm very happy that his positioning is 12, and he's getting a lot faster, because his acceleration is 12 and his pace is 13. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep continuing to focus on those areas. Once his positioning hits like 13 or 14, I'll stop, and then we will then focus on just quickness for him, because I was just wanting to get around the pitch a bit more effectively, and he's going to become a huge asset to this team. We followed the development for our players, and I've noticed certain things that I may have made mistakes with. The first up, training, I was too light-hearted. I was too light on my players' intensity level. Now, the thing here is I want to make sure that I don't get injured, because we wanted to get off to a good start. I was more interested in that. And then once the matches started piling up in between, Champions League, in between our Champions League campaign, I was very concerned about losing players. I mean, I've already lost quite a few last season. CM De Jong becomes the first one, but we cannot sacrifice player development for that. So we're gonna continue now. We're gonna push it back to heavy. So most of the boys are training. The training right now for the team is set on intensity level heavy. Overall workload is medium. For the squad, on average, you can see everybody's is heavy, so this is fine. Tactically, I don't really care. We've been using several tactics here. This season, more likely than not, we're going to be using the 4-5-1 and the 4-1-3-2. These are our two tactics that we are using so that we can develop our players accordingly. Justin Kluivert, when he plays in this system, he moves in and becomes an attacking playmaker. Neres is no longer, Neres to me is not a big favorite of mine. And we've got other players like Kasper. Where is Kasper Dolberg now? Kasper Dolberg, we want him to start showing that he... Well, I might want to sell him, so I'm going to make sure that Kasper Dolberg plays right at the tip of the spear. And in the midfield, here we got a ball-winning midfielder. This position is usually taken by somebody like... It can be taken by players like Lorenzo Christie. Then we have Donny van der Beek now, who can play here. And then we have the Mazala position is usually Hakim Ziyech or Cerny. So if Cerny, Ziyech, so this is the triplets in the team, and I'm happy because his passing and his vision and his decisions are now, the only thing now left is his decisions, because Christie, he can play in this position because he's marginally better in terms of decision making. And up top, Kai Shearhouse is definitely a player that we are looking at development potential, but in the long run, yes, if we can, we will sell these players. Werber, he's back to 100%. Then we've got Ligt. We want him to become a ball-playing defender. At the back, if you notice, I didn't really focus on my sweeper keeper because I don't really track my keepers, when it comes to training. Well, I hope you found this update of for the Ajax team helpful. It's more an update of the team in general. If I looked at the team report weaknesses, there's not a great deal of quality depth outside of the first team. 11 of the 25 assists conceded in the last have come from through balls. That's sad. Lack of quality depth at right back. That's true. 8 of the 25 conceded have come from the left side of the pitch. Not surprised. Sometime during every season, I will look at my players and do this kind of analysis to see how they develop and whether we need to, shift our training focuses. And so far, I've realized that for some of these players, perhaps it's a good idea for me to make some slight changes. And with other players, well, I have to track them a bit more closely because certain things are happening that I'm not too happy about. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Ajax Diaries. If you have any questions, please look me up on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank all my patrons for their continued support of this channel. You guys make these kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys take care. Have a good one. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.